What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Five-Star Stylist, the podcast where we turn mistakes into mentorship. This week, I want to switch it up a little bit and talk about something from the archives, the early days of my career, where I learned a really valuable lesson. I've shared this story a couple times intimately, but never online. But long ago, I was just starting out as an assistant at the second salon that I worked at, which is where I really spent majority of my career. I spent 8 years at that salon, first as an assistant and eventually getting my own chair as a stylist. But that's another story for another day. When I was still working as an assistant and sort of taking on clients, I got this lady. I wanted to use the word attracted. I attracted this lady who she wanted a quick weave. I didn't do quick weaves, but in the early days of my career, I would just take on whatever I could get. I was doing lashes. You want a quick weave? I'll figure it out. I'll braid your hair and sew a track into it. Whatever I can do to get some clients in my chair, I'm saying yes to everything. And so I did not know what I was doing. But I knew the fundamentals. This is before closures and all of those things. So you just glue the tracks and then you glue the very top into a circle and then you close the top. Old school. And so she was explaining to me, in hindsight, I should have known. In hindsight, I recognize now the red flags, but in the moment, as a brand new hungry stylist, I did not recognize the red flags. So this angel, she says, "Oh yeah, when my stylist does it, that's red flag number one. Where's your stylist at? Why are you in my chair? Why are you in some kid's chair that you don't even know? When my stylist does it, he splits all the tracks." So I'm like, okay, I didn't even know what that meant, splitting the tracks. So I'm like, okay. So I take the razor out of my razor comb, and there's no safe side on a razor of a razor comb. So I'm taking out this very sharp razor on both sides, and they're very thin and pliable as well. And I'm trying to split the tracks, and she's muscling me through this appointment. She is like giving such overbearing energy. And again, in hindsight, nobody runs me. But in hindsight, um, I thought that, oh, this is service, so I have to make sure that she's pleased. Um, and it's interesting because I'm kind of reflecting on it now, but I'm going to do my best to just tell the story as it was and then do a reflection. So she's just muscling me through this appointment, and I'm having a hard time, but I'm like, just naturally never let them see you sweat. So I'm pushing through, I'm doing it. We get done. I have no idea how long it took. I just know that this lady had lost her hair through chemo, and she was very self-conscious of how it looked, and she wanted it to be flat as possible and as natural looking as possible. Um and so I'm sure that she was desperate because she came into some salon. Whatever happened with her and her stylist, he was or she was not able to do it. So she was willing me into manifesting exactly what she needed. Mind you, we had never met. So I'm doing it. Long story short, I'm splitting these tracks, I'm gluing it in. By the end of the appointment, my fingers are cut up from splitting these tracks the best way I can with this dangerous razor. I'm 18 or 19 years old at this point. And she hates it, and she rips me to pieces at the end of this appointment. And she leaves. I don't even remember what I charged her or if I charged her at all, because I really felt like I was cut down to be 2 inches tall by the end of whatever she said to me. And I just remember crying. I remember being so frustrated that I cried. And I was just so, it was just such a terrible experience. And that was a tough lesson for an early hairstylist, but I think it was better that I learned it then, um, to prepare me for the future. Now, that being said, I didn't fully understand what had happened in the moment, but once I encountered another client like this, I knew to check for the red flags. Now, in today, Robert Alexander, paraprofessional XYZ, I like to think of myself more as a chef. You come to my restaurant to enjoy my menu. You don't. I'm not a cook. This is not Coney Island. You don't get to come in here and get burgers and fries. You come and you get foie gras. You come to me and you get whatever I'm making, because that's what this is. And I think that experiences like that are what made me become a chef as a hairstylist, and really understand that if you don't take control of your business, um, I think it's somewhat in human nature that people exert dominance. And it was an interesting thing, especially as a man, to exert dominance with respect to women. I never wanted to be overbearing or too dominant, but it's always important that you know that this is my space. These are my rules. I run this entire show. With all the humility, as a service provider, I run the show. And I learned that valuable lesson through her. I'm sure that throughout the next 15 years, I experienced more clients like that. But the one that comes to mind more than anything, especially in the midst of last week's episode, of just understanding how my mentors eliminate all things that do not work alongside them towards the goals that they're working towards. I had a consultation a couple months ago where I had a lady, a beautiful woman. She was in the military and had such a strong energy. And I don't think that that's inherent. I know plenty of women in the service who aren't like this, but she was tough as nails. And she came in and I kind of chuckled to myself, because I was like, oh, she thinks she's going to run this. That's really interesting. So something I do is internally I pray. I pray constantly. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, tell me what I need to do here. How do I handle this professionally and maintain control of this room and actually regain control of this room? Because at a certain point, she had me pinned to the mat for a second. And I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I am Robert Alexander. You came to me and you waited months to get here. This is not, and again, humbly, but these are the facts. I am Robert Alexander, and you did wait months to get here. So we not about to run me, period. And so after a while, after enough remarks, she just reminded me too much of what I don't like. She reminded me too much of, if this is how the consultation is going and you're interested in K-tips, which could take anywhere from 5 to 8 hours, I don't think that it's worth the money. And what a blessing and what a gift to be able to say, you know what, keep your money. Because a more desperate version of me, which was young Robert with his fingers all cut up, just hungry for building a clientele, I am now in a space that I have the demand that I can turn away bad money. We all know all money isn't good money. And if you're going to come in here and disrespect this beautiful space that I've curated as a reflection of my professionalism, you don't get to stay. You don't get to. It's a privilege to be here, and you don't get that privilege. And so I just wanted to share that, because I had a conversation with a friend recently where I was reflecting on not this situation, but something else. And I was saying that operating from a place of desperation clouds judgment. And I think that that's the difference. That's the difference between when something feels like it's from God and when it's from Satan. When something feels good, all lights green, that is God. That is the blessing. But when it feels like, oh yes, somebody's coming in here willing to give me what I deserve financially, but it's going to cost me a part of my soul. It's going to cost me a part of my integrity. It's going to cost me to cut corners on the business that I designed to be successful. There ain't no God in that. That's one of my famous sayings. I say it all the time. Ain't no God in that. When you come in here acting funny, there is no God in that. That's something else. And I don't allow that up in here. And so I just want to share that so that people have the discernment to recognize the difference. especially my young developing hairstylists. I know, especially now with we got Instagram and TikTok and all this social media teaching us that we need money. We need money. We need to buy the Louis Vuitton and the Birkin bags and the designer. We need those things. We don't need any of those things. And don't get me wrong, they're nice. They're wonderful to have, but it's not a need. And I'm not here to tell you what to buy and what not to buy. That's not the purpose of this podcast. But I believe in what energy you operate out of determines everything. And from a place of desperation, and especially to covet material things, will get you effed up. I want that bag, so I'm gonna let Boo Boo come in here, talk to me crazy, order off the menu, and have me doing things that don't make sense, and take away from my business model and my bottom line, just because it sounds like good money today. You can have that, babes. And if you can't say that yet, then I hope that you leave from this episode knowing that that's something that you can aspire to. That's something that you can actionably work towards. Being in a space of security where you get to call the shots. I don't think anyone, I should phrase that differently. I did not come into the beautiful world of entrepreneurship to be told what to do. We have a beautiful relationship, my clients and I, but I don't have a boss. Never have, never will. And as long as that fact remains true, I get to operate from a place of gratitude and service. Both of those things, gratitude and service. I'm grateful that people choose me. Women fly in to sit in my chair. I'm grateful for that. And because of that gratitude as the foundation, I get to serve my clients with the very best that I have. And I could go on, but I feel like this video is already getting a little bit long. But I might make a part 2 to talk about why the gratitude in collaboration with service is what my focus is, and it's the vehicle for why money comes to me. It's not about, I don't focus on the money. I just focus on those two things, and that's what creates the magnetism in my life. But I'll talk about that a little bit later, especially if you sound off below that you're interested in it. Things like this and other helpful ideas are all a part of the community that I've built online called the 5-Star Stylist, which I have linked below. It's free to join, and it's a place where beauty professionals can share recipes, discuss ideas, troubleshoot, share experiences on a deeper level, because ultimately what I want is for us to elevate the beauty industry. All in all, that's my objective, and also the 5-star standard. Thank you guys for listening, and as always, stay open, stay humble, be confident, and keep it 5 stars.